How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, we're going to be speaking about building relationships with your players. If this is the first time you're watching a video on the channel, please do remember to subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and of course, leave your comments below. For the purpose of making this video, I'm going to show you my Montrose team who I have been managing with for about 5 seasons now. There are several players within the first team who have myself listed as their favoured personnel. Whenever you do have players who list you as their favoured personnel, they're more than likely going to be more inclined to sign a contract at the club. They're likely to probably work a little bit harder for you as well. Of course, it's also a good thing to make sure that you have, where you can, it's a good thing to try and have players in your team who have each other listed as good teammates as well. Okay then, so if you wanted to check out what relationships a player has, especially in terms of favoured personnel or potentially their favoured club, what you need to do is click onto the player, go to the overview tab here and then click on information. Of course, it's going to be a good thing if you do have players within your team that like each other as favoured personnel, and of course if they like you as their manager as well. My Montrose team, I've just finished the 5th season, just about to go into my 6th season. I had a real quick count just before making this video, and I've got about 6 players who have me listed as their favoured personnel. You will quite often find that if you do have players who list each other as their favoured personnel or who have you listed as their favoured personnel, you sometimes get good positive things happening in here. For example, like they might say they're pleased that X player is the captain of the club, or that they're happy playing alongside a particular player. Usually players get favoured personnel if they are tutored by someone a little bit older. So this guy here, Stephen Simmons, he's 38 years old at the moment, but what I did, I got him to tutor David Hughes, and of course David Hughes has now got him listed as his favoured personnel. I will admit I don't know exactly what the kind of exact science is behind what you actually have to do to get players listed in your favoured personnel, but certainly there's kind of key things that I do every single month or quite regularly, just to make sure that, one, that I'm keeping my players happy, and two, that I'm making sure that they're liking my style of management. So usually at the first of every month you will get a training report from your assistant manager or whoever you have selected to give you a report on how the players have been training. Usually you do have about 3 or 4 players listed in here as to who's playing well. Because I've just finished the season, all my players have actually gone on holiday. But players like this guy here, he's 35 at the moment, but you can still see that he's actually improving in terms of his attributes. I will unfortunately be releasing him at the end of the season, but what you can do, you can go to interaction. I've already done it already, but when you go to praise player, you can actually praise how well the player is doing in training. Another good thing that you can do is praise the player's conduct. So for example, if you press that, you might have seen that his morale did actually end up increasing then, which is a good thing to do. If you see players on here that are not necessarily popping up at the first of every month, what you can do is click on training, and then you can go to individual. Sometimes this works, sometimes this doesn't. For some reason at the moment it's not working for me, which is a little bit of a pain. But sometimes when you do sort by performance, it does list them in the order, of how well they're actually doing in training. So just for an example here, this guy here, even if they got maybe like a couple of green arrows, you can actually, sort of speak to the player just to improve their morale. So if I went to praise player, again for some reason it's not showing up here that I can sort of praise him for the way that he's doing in training, probably because he's on holiday at the moment. But certainly what you can do is sort of praise them in terms of their conduct at the club. It is of course a good idea as well to play players as often as you can. Generally I do stick to the same sort of starting 11 throughout most of the season. Obviously if players form does drop down or their morale drops down, then I will get rid of some players out of my starting 11 and look to bring other players in who might be playing well, but generally I do like to stick with the same starting 11. What this means is that you do have certain players that are going to be really liking you and your style of management. I think this guy here potentially had me listed. Yeah, so this guy here, Dylan, Stevenson, he's been at the club for a couple of seasons, and you can see how much I've been playing him. So in this last season, he played 35 games, and in this season, he played, well, 27 appearances he made. But within 2 seasons, this guy has listed me as, you know, one of his favoured personnel, and also he's actually listed my club Montrose as you know, one of his favourite clubs as well. But what you can basically do, if a player plays well, it's going to be a really good idea to make sure that you praising the performance that he's made. In terms of actually praising a player and how well he's played, I'll just wait for this to load up here. So the type of players that you'll be looking to sort of praise for their performance basically are any players that have made an assist, and any players that have scored a couple of goals, especially your strikers. If they are scoring goals, it's going to be a really, really good idea to praise them in their last match. So what you can basically do, hopefully it's going to show up, I'm not too sure, but you can go, well, they're on holiday unfortunately again, so probably not the best time to make this video, but you can go speak about praise player, and then you will have an option to praise last game. And the option that you want to select is the top option, which is going to be that you were pleased with their finishing in the last game. Of course, if your defenders keep a clean sheet as well, generally any players that get defenders that go over about 7, I generally praise them for their defensive work. And again, any midfielders that do get any assists or anything like that, then I am a little bit more inclined to praise them as well. I have found that this is a really good way to improve morale. Obviously, you are speaking to your players, and it should keep them quite motivated to play for your team. Again, I'm not particularly too sure how much an effect this is going to have in terms of getting players to have you listed as their favoured personnel, but a really good thing that you can do, you can go to interaction again, go to advice, and then go to recommend signing or the staff edition. It really doesn't matter which one you choose. Once you tick on that option, you'll basically be taken to a page that looks like this. It looks like maybe because the guy's on holiday, I'm not actually able to speak to him at the moment, but you can certainly see how much I have praised this guy so like throughout the season basically. And you can see here it actually lists how good his morale was at the time of me praising him as well. So this guy's a centre back, and you can certainly see that I'm, you know, praising his conduct quite often and having a look at the way he's doing in training, and also, you know, praising his defensive work as often as possible. You're seeing I'm not doing it too often. Looks like maybe once or twice a month at the moment, but certainly praising every single player that you've got in your team as much as you can, either for their conduct, their training, or their performances, is certainly going to go a long way in making them list you as their favoured personnel. I'm going to call this the end of the episode here, guys. I'm going to be sorting out this Montrose team, actually just getting ready for the new season. So I'm going to be trying to make a couple more videos off the back of this one as well. So if you've enjoyed the video, please do drop a like on the video. It really does help the channel. Of course, subscribe if you're not already done so. And I'd like to hear your comments as the type of things that you do to improve morale of your players. And if you've got any tips for trying to get players to list you as their favoured personnel. Thanks for watching.